Shunda Jenkins. Welcome to Inspiring Woman Podcast. Each week, I share an inspiring story, motivation, and tips to help you get through your day. If you're ready to live an inspiring life, tune in for today's motivation. The purpose of life is to live it, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experience. Eleanor Roosevelt. Hello, my name is Shunda Jenkins. Welcome back to my podcast. I am a mindset life coach, and this month's theme is growth mindset. The guests for each episode this month embody dedication, resilience, and focus. Today's guest speaker is Shenna Yap Chan. She has a successful podcast, and she'll be explaining more about this in the show. So during this episode, we'll be discussing her journey and what inspired her to empower women with self-confidence. Welcome, Sheena Yap Chan, to the show today. How you doing?
Hey, Shunda. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on your show today. I really appreciate it. I'm truly honored. And thank you to everyone who's listening today. I hope, our conversation will be able to help you have the confidence to go out there and do your own thing, especially as women. I know it's very challenging at times because we have to wear so many hats. And as Shunda mentioned, I do have a highly successful podcast called the Tao of Self Confidence, where I interview Asian women about their journey to self-confidence. I've been doing it for about 5 years now. It's actually reached over 1 million downloads, which I'm really proud of because I never thought that would ever happen. And the main reasons why I created the podcast was because growing up as an Asian woman or Asian girl, I had my own self-confidence issues, but I never really had any support to run to. I mean, there was just no one that looked like me or had the same culture as me to go to seek that support system, because sometimes when we're in our own journeys, we feel like we're all alone and there's no help we can seek. So this was one of the reasons why I created. Support was very important. And then the second one is representation. As an Asian woman growing up in Toronto, Canada, as a little girl, I never saw any Asian representation.
Wow.
And because of that, I ended up, wanting to be a blonde hair, blue eyed girl named Heather because that's all I ever saw on TV. And so for me, representation is very important because it makes a huge difference when there's someone out there that kind of looks like you, has the same cultural background as you, who's been able to be at their lowest of their low and be able to pick themselves back up and keep moving forward to thrive and be the powerful and confident woman that they are today. So that's a little bit about me. Other than that, I also do self-confidence coaching, speaking on self-confidence, podcasting, of course. And I also have 2 books coming out in 2021. One is called Asian Women Who Boss Up, which is a book I co-collaborated with another lady named Tam Luck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's about 16 Asian women who are going to share their story about how they're able to forge their own path and thrive. And this is very important because if you ever go on Amazon or any other online bookstore, you don't see book covers that feature 16 Asian women. And so it's almost 2020 is almost over, and yet we still don't see a lot of representation. And so this is why we decided to create a book, because it was just needed. It's something that we need to see so that other people can be inspired, especially Asian women, because it's something that I'm very passionate about. And so that's one book that's coming out in 2021. Another book which I'll be featured on is Women of Color Who Boss Up. And as women of color, it's the same thing. We don't have a lot of representation. I mean, Shonda, how many books do you see that feature 16 women of color in a book cover?
I have not seen one.
Exactly. And what year are we in? 2020.
2020.
2020 is almost over and we still face these same problems. So this is why it's so important to create this. Visibility is huge, and the only way we get that visibility is to create it, whether it's a book, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a video, whether you're on TV. These are platforms that we have to utilize to get our voices out there and be seen. And so this is why I'm very passionate about, helping women, helping them come out of their comfort zone, help them overcome their fears or rejections, their limited, self-doubt, things like that, because it's all the stuff I went through. I'm sure you've gone through your own fair share of struggles as well.
Mm-hmm. I have. Because I was always wanting to be a different color. And some people will look, in my race, I'm African American, but we have different shades. And so some people rather be like my shade. And me, I was wanting to be white because I felt like, I was in a school where it was predominantly white people. and I was probably like the only African American child. And sometimes they looked at me as if I was mixed. So they didn't even know I was actually black completely. And so it was crazy that they didn't even know my actual nationality. And so I just always felt like I did not fit in. And, you know, and then the fact that I was always struggling with my insecurities, how I looked at myself, um, that all tied into each other. And so that inspired me also to just want to help people in general just discover their purpose and make sure that they don't allow the things that people say they're supposed to be or who they thought they were from people picking on them, because I have been picked on. I did not like the way I look. So accepting who you are is very important because that's how you can actually go out there and achieve the impossible. You know, so that's something I always encourage in my clients to be who you are and know who you are first before you can actually be who you are. Accept yourself for who you are. Like, I'm African American. I have to accept that. I can't change myself. This is how I was born. And so I have to accept that and know that I can make a difference with someone else looking at me. They're going to say, okay, well, she did it, so I can do it. And so that's why I like to instill in my clients when I'm working with them. That's cool, man.
Awesome.
Wow. So you kind of answered a lot of my questions already. So when you're coaching them, I know you do like the confidence coaching. Tell me how like the coaching sessions go. Like, if I came to you and I needed some self-confidence coaching, like tell me some things that you would probably say to me in the session.
Well, first off, I'd probably send you a questionnaire about some of the things you'd want to work on, whether it's mindset, whether it's maybe some programs that you want to unlearn, or maybe some past traumatic experiences that you've gone through, because nobody realizes like our issues come from our childhood experiences. So for me, I always thought I was a failure
Mm.
because I failed kindergarten. I
Wow.
failed kindergarten in the Philippines for coloring outside the lines. And because of that, I had to
Wow.
move to another school, redo kindergarten all over again. And because I wasn't aware of that, it really just came with me till like till like now, till adulthood. I didn't realize that that's when it started me thinking of myself as a failure. But really, I had to look. If I looked at that a different way, it was just a sign that I was always meant to color outside the lines. I was never meant to be in a certain path. And so these are some of the things that I do, work with clients, because it's important to bring these up, because if we don't peel the layers of onions that we have, we're not going to know. If we don't go deep, we're not going to know how to fix it. And so awareness is really huge. Sometimes we don't know, sometimes we don't know what's going on, or we don't know what's triggered us. And that's why a coach is really important, to pick out the blind spots, right? To help you realize, okay, maybe it came from here. And so now that we establish that problem, how are we going to find ways to solve it? And for me, I want to help the client to figure out ways that will work for them, because every single person is different. We're not going to have the same way of boosting our confidence. What may work for you may not work for me, and it's all about trial and error. But the more we can talk about it, the more we feel comfortable like learning things our own way. I know
Mhm.
when we've been taught to like go to school and just follow what the teacher tells us, but this isn't school, right? This is your life. You have to, sometimes if someone tells you something and you don't question it, like we just blindly follow it. But it's great to like ask questions, because if it makes sense for you, great. But if it doesn't, it's like, why are you doing this? This doesn't make sense for me. And so it's really important to ask those important questions, because the answers are all within us, right? It's just sometimes
Mhm.
asking the right questions to ourselves. And those are some of the things I want that I want to help clients. Another thing is learning to overcome certain things like fear and rejection, because how many times have you been rejected in your life? More than I can count, right? And it was a big wake up call for me too, because back then I never really believed in coaching. I just thought it was like a bunch of hooey, until someone actually did help me, coach me through my own fears and my own rejections. And it wasn't fun, like, trying to talk to people, trying to talk to them about a program that I have. And it's just like rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection. And sometimes you get depressed. I mean, I got depressed. I ended up eating my feelings. I was just like, I don't even think this is going to work. But I just have to realize it's all part of the process. And I think when it comes to entrepreneurship, a lot of people glamorizes entrepreneurship. If we just spoke out and tell people, like, it's yes, entrepreneurship is great, but sometimes it sucks. you know it sucks when you're working 24 hours in a day. It sucks when you get 100 no's in one day. It sucks when you send out 500 emails and none of them answer you back. It sucks when, you think you have a sale and then the next minute they change their mind. And so this is all just part of the process. And if we just realize that this is all part of it and that we can handle it, then we can keep moving forward, because there is a day when you will hit that 5-figure month, or when you hit your first client, or when you end up being, on the cover of Forbes magazine. It'll happen, but it's going to suck at first. I mean, everyone who's an overnight success isn't really an overnight success. They've been paving the way to get there, and they've been doing it and doing it and doing it. They've been falling, getting back up, falling, getting back up, falling, getting back up. So yeah, those are some of the things I do help clients. I probably went like kind of out of it,
No,
out
no,
of
that was
topic, but
good. No, that was good. That needed to be said because I think a lot of people think that, okay, you can make a product and then like all of a sudden you're going to have your first 10, 25K month. And is it possible? Yes. But what I like to teach my clients is that you have certain steps you have to put in place. You have to start out at a certain platform. Like you don't start out up here, you got to start out down here to get to here, but you will get to here. It just takes you taking inspired action every single day, being consistent, showing up for yourself. Because if someone doesn't get something like the first day or the first week, they're like, I'm giving up on this. And I'm
oh
like,
yeah.
you gotta stick to it because it does take time. And that was something that I had to realize for myself, because I had coaches that were telling me, oh, I can help you make this amount on this amount of days. No, everything takes time. If you have not established yourself as a brand and as a leader in that field, you coming on a scene trying to sell something to somebody, to people who are strangers, people from different countries, they're going to be like, I don't know who this person is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I totally agree. I think it's learning to build it step by step, taking little steps, taking those small actionable daily steps, because that is what really yields the big results. When people make that big leap and they don't attain the goal, then that's when their confidence goes down. And yeah, starting in the beginning, you might have to do that, but then there's some point in your journey where you have to realize you are more than enough to go out there and charge people for your services, because you are
Mhm.
going to help them produce a result. And I know as women, it's not always easy, right? Because there's so many labels that we're given. It's shameful for a woman to promote themselves. It's not shameful. I mean, if you have something that will work for somebody, that will produce a positive result, then you should go out there and promote yourself. But because we live in a society where a woman should do things and do, be proper, and like, it's just crazy. We have so many labels, and it really hurts women from moving forward. Like, if a guy goes out there and tries to forge his own path or go after his dreams, he's considered confident. He's considered like a hero. But if a woman does the exact same thing, she's too ambitious. It's just all these negative connotations, or she's called a certain word, or she's considered to be too much, too aggressive. But why do we get all these labels and men don't? And so this is why we need to learn to take out these labels, because some of these words can really hurt a woman's career.
Mhm.
A great example is, I was watching a 30-year reunion of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and they had an interview where the original Aunt Vivian came out and shared her story. And one thing she said in that story was, I was labeled as a difficult Black woman in Hollywood, and because of that, it killed her career. Like, I don't
Mm.
think she had another acting career after that, right? After 30 years. And so it's really important to not bring down women and call them difficult or aggressive or too much, because we're just doing the same thing that men are doing, yet they're getting praised for it. And also, these negative how society sees women also hurts us, because not as many women are in leadership roles, because we're told to be in the background, never make any noise, be the good obedient person that you're supposed to be. And because of that, we don't get a lot of leadership roles, or if we do, it takes forever to get to a leadership role. So a great example is last month, a woman by the name of Kim Ng became the first general manager in a major sports team. She's a general
Wow.
manager for the Miami Marlins. And that's huge, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
first woman to be a general manager in any major sports team. It's 2020 and it took this long. But if you ever saw her rap sheet, this woman should have been a general manager 15 years ago. She's already had 3 World Series under her belt. She's worked for the LA Dodgers, New York Yankees, Chicago White Sox. I mean, she has like a roster that if a man had that same rap sheet, he would have been a general manager on the like right on the spot, right? But for
Yeah.
her, she got interviewed by 5 other teams for being a general manager position, yet nobody took her in as a general
Wow.
manager. The highest position she was able to attain before getting a general manager position was assistant general manager. And so
Wow.
this is why it's so important for us women to like show them that we're not defined by these labels. We need to take all these labels out, and we have to, yeah, sometimes we have to work a lot harder, like 100 times harder, just to be seen, just so that people can take us seriously. But in the end, it's worth it because people will start opening their eyes and realize that we're not just like someone who's going to be told what to do. We can go out there and forge our own path. We can go there and make some noise, make some good noise,
Yes.
positive, yeah, make some positive impact so that little girls in the future can realize what's possible for themselves.
Yeah. I definitely agree that because I have a daughter. I mean, I have a daughter and 2 sons, and I just always make sure my daughter knows that, she is a beautiful woman, that she's more than like anything, she can do anything that she wants to because she has like this ideal she wants to do like 5 different things. And her brother's like, that's a lot. I said, that's fine. It's possible for her. She can do whatever she wants to do. If she wants to do that, then it's possible. And I also made sure that when she's playing with other friends, when other moms are saying like they're being sassy, I was like, no, she's not being sassy, like because we also have to make sure when we're moms, our parents, that we do not give labels to them so they understand like, okay, if she's speaking up for herself, she's speaking up for herself. And I always tell her because I have found her on the playground and she'll wait and she won't say anything and she just stay waiting and it'll be people keep going down the slide in front of her. And so I said, Kaylin, it's okay if you want to go. If you're there, make sure you let people know your voice is important. It's important and you should tell people what you want to say. So I always make sure that she knows in my voice, but I also make sure that she knows that her voice is meant to be heard and she should speak it. It's not about being disrespectful. It's about if you have something to say it, because if not, then you're going to continue to get looked over and that's what's going to happen. And so you have to always make sure you know that your voice is important and your opinion is valuable because I thought my voice was not important. I thought my opinion was not valuable. And so it really messed me up with my self-confidence and speaking in front of like getting up for public speaking. I was so nervous. And and I would just get up and I would just do horrible. Like I did really horrible in public speaking. But I was really good at writing. And my teacher, he would say, your writing is so good, but you're not doing good with your public speaking. But I was so nervous. I would go up there, I have gum in my mouth, and I would do all the verbal pauses, and it was horrible. It was really horrible, and I hated it.
Hey, I know where you've been because that's how I felt too when I first started like doing video. I could not finish like it took me 2 hours to do my first 2-minute video. It was terrible. I would like turn on the camera, say something, fumble, turn it off, turn it on back again, say something, fumble, and turn it off. And so I just kept on doing it until I could like push through it. And sometimes we just have to push through our fears and anxiety, even if it like kills us or like makes it feel like this is like the biggest hurdle we have to overcome. But when you do it, it's not as bad as you think. And this is also how a coach can help you. Like sometimes a coach can just help you push through those things. You don't have to do it alone because the
Mhm.
same thing happened to me. I was going through so many like feelings. I mean, I would laugh out of nervousness and people would be like, why are you laughing? I wasn't laughing at them. I was just laughing because I was so nervous. I didn't know what to say and I started fumbling my words and I would blank out. But I kept doing it until it was over. And then, I would be like, oh my God, I can't believe I just went through that. But I feel a lot better because I still went through that. And if that's the
Yeah.
worst that could happen and I'm still standing, it's all good. And so
Yeah.
sometimes having a coach to help you just push through those things can really help you gain confidence and realize, like, if I can tackle that, I can tackle anything.
Yeah. All right. So when you first started out, like when you started out in your self-confidence journey, like with the podcast, how was that experience? Like, was it something that people were receptive to, or what do people think? Or like what was some things that people were saying? Do you remember? Like, how was the experience?
Well, when I first started or decided to create a podcast, I didn't even know what a podcast was. I decided to invest in a course and be in a community where they can give me feedback. And so back then, my title was not the Tao of Self Confidence. I actually had another title because I was trying to be clever versus being clear. So I decided to name my podcast The Stripper, and the tagline was to strip your limiting beliefs away. And
Oh,
so I had a graphic designer create a podcast art, and it had basically a silhouette of a stripper with a whip. And then I passed that artwork to the podcast group that I was in, and I got tons of negative feedback, right? Here thinking I'm like the bomb because I thought of this great idea, and everyone's like turning it down. They're like, nope, 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 nope. You're gonna give them the wrong idea. You're gonna draw in the wrong crowd. I probably got one yes out of like 500 no's, and that really killed my confidence because I was like,
oh.
if I can't even get the name right, how am I gonna get the show right? And so I just had to take a step back, and a friend helped me out really get clear as to why I'm doing this. And that's how the name came out, the Tao of Self Confidence. So I had my the graphic designer redo a whole new graphic. And this time it's just a woman with a silhouette of a cape. And that's powerful, right? Because we all wear invisible capes or invisible crowns. And when I sent that over again with the new artwork, new name, everybody got it right away. They're like, I love it. 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 I'm like, oh, thank God I got it right. And so I know as women, we're afraid to make mistakes. We're afraid of getting negative feedback. But you have to understand this is all feedback to help you become better. You know, we all make mistakes. Sometimes our greatest mistakes will lead us to our greatest opportunities. You just have to be okay with making mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, like all the time. If you ever see, like, when I write stuff, I have a ton of grammatical errors. I have to like go back and like fix it because I'm just like so bad at it. But you just keep going, and everything doesn't have to be perfect. And I know we live in a society where we feel like we have to be perfect because the media has billboards of like these perfect images of women that's been altered to a T. Or you go on Instagram and every filter in the world's like is put on a certain photo to make it look perfect. But really, there's no such thing as perfection. It's an illusion. And I always say, when you do something, or when you're starting to do something and you're practicing, practice makes progress. No, not practice makes perfection.
Yeah,
Like doing a video. When I did a video, I would stutter. I would stutter so much. But the more I kept doing it, that stutterness went away because my fear of video went away. And it's just, doing the action over and over and over again. But I know the hardest step is the first step, because you have all these like crazy thoughts in your head. What if I suck? What if I can't do this? What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? And we all go through that. Especially as women, we're very analytical, and we're very we overthink everything to the point where we resist doing stuff. And so it's
hmm,
really important to take that first step. And if you can't do it alone, this is where a coach can help you push through those things so that you can go out there and do it. Because if you don't take that first step, you're not going to go anywhere.
definitely. I definitely agree that I always tell my daughter because she thinks everything's supposed to be perfect. I say, Caitlin, practice make progress. Nothing's perfect. Just continue to practice, and you'll progress. I mean, she's sick, so whatever she's understanding from what I'm saying is whatever she's understanding. But I think we have to get that out of people's mind, is that there's nothing perfect. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. So you got to do it. Put it out there. And I'm helping my mom right now because she's trying to start a business. And so she's like, she's new to social media. So she does not know anything about it. So last Sunday, I kind of helped her like put together her social media. And so she was about to create her first post, and she was like, is this right? I was like, Mom, whatever you put out there, I promise you, no one can tell if you're doing right or wrong. Just put it out there. But did I say this right? I said, remember, these are your words because you're speaking to your audience. You need to let people know who you are. And so if I tell you how to write it, when you speak, they're going to know that your words on your social media does not line up with who you are. So you got to make sure when you writing a post that you write it however you want to, because you're speaking to your customers, you're speaking to your audience. And so she was like, I did a post. She told me yesterday she did a
No,
post. She said, did you look at it? I said, Mom, I promise you, any post you do, it's going to be perfect. It's going to be good.
awesome.
Because she's 66. And like we said about women, it's like no one knows. Everyone is doing the best that they can. And I'm not looking at someone post saying, oh, they did that wrong. No one's looking at that. That's all in our head. It's all something that we telling ourselves. But put it out there, and whoever likes it, likes it. And whoever sees it. And whoever it was meant for that person. And that's how I look at it. So, for someone who may be interested in like starting a podcast, what advice will you give to them? Like a woman for general. Yeah, just say a woman who's interested in starting a podcast. What advice will you give them?
First of all, I would tell them to be clear about why they're doing a podcast, have a clear message, have a huge purpose for it. Because if you don't have a huge purpose, you're not going to have the confidence to go out there and start it. Like for me, the reason why I did it was because I really wanted to elevate Asian women's voices, celebrate their achievements, and have a support system. And so this thing was a lot bigger than me. And so it was, even though it was scary, I knew I wasn't doing this for myself. I was doing it for other people. And when you can do something that's bigger than you, you are going to have the confidence to go out there and do it. Like, and it doesn't have to be anything as big as mine. It can just be like you're doing this for your daughter, or you're doing this for your mother, you're doing this for one person, because that can still affect a lot of people. Right? When you share your story of like, I just want to help my daughter build confidence, and this is why I created a podcast. People can relate to that. People will be like, I
Mhm.
have a daughter who needs self-confidence too. I want her to tune into this. And so
Yeah.
it's very, very important to have a purpose. Even if it's just like, I really love talking about cars, then just say that. Because there's a lot of people who like to talk about cars, right? And I think a lot of them, most people, when they start something, it has to do with something from their life, right? Me, like confidence issues, no representation. Other people was just like, back then I never had this opportunity, and now I want to create that opportunity, right? It's all about solving problems. What problem are you solving? Are you trying to educate them? Are you trying to entertain them? Do you want to become an expert? So have a clear purpose before starting anything else. I think that's just in anything you do, whether it's a business, a podcast, a blog, a YouTube channel. What is your purpose for this, right? Or what do you want to be that one thing you're known for, right? So like I just, people come to me and say, hey, I need an article about how to have confidence in the workplace. Can you write something out? I'm like, okay, sure. They come to me because I've been doing a podcast about confidence for 5 years. So, they come to me for that topic because it's something I've been doing. I'm sure people come to you go to you, sorry, because you do mindset, right? So if they
Yeah.
need someone who's an expert in mindset, then they go to you. So that's the first thing I would tell them. And then if you do have money to spend, you would need to invest in a microphone, just a USB microphone. There's lots of different, mics out there. If you can't afford $100 microphone, then pick a $50 microphone. But I think having a microphone makes a huge difference. And also, podcast hosting is very important because that's what will release. That's how you're going to release your episodes in Apple and Spotify and on Google Play and all those other major directories. And it'll be easier for people to subscribe because they'll get it notified a new episode comes without even you telling them.
Wow. Yes. All right. So, lastly, what are some tips that you can give someone who needs self confidence? Like, it could be like three things that you do every day, or one thing, or whatever, that they can improve in their self confidence today.
Sure.
What do you
So
think?
one thing I do is when I have moments of self doubt, I say three things to myself, just three sets of affirmations. I say, I am enough, I am worthy, I am love. And yes, when you start saying it for the first time, it's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel weird. You're going to feel like this is stupid. But the more you keep doing it, the better you will feel. And I keep telling myself that until I feel better. So that's one thing that I would tell people. Another thing is start celebrating every single success you have. So, like your mom putting her first post on Instagram, or whatever social media platform she used, celebrate that, because at 66 she's able to do that. That's awesome. And it's just a great sign that age is nothing but a number. Like, you can start your own business whenever you feel like it, right? She's a prime example of that. I remember interviewing a girl who just started her business, and I said to her, "Oh my God, you know, congrats on opening your own business or starting your own business." And she's like, "Well, let's not celebrate it yet. Let's celebrate when I start making money or when I start doing well." And I said, "No, no, 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 no. Let's start celebrating that you started a business, that you decided to quit your job and start your own business, because not too many people have the courage to do that. A lot of people are too scared to go out there, quit their job to do their own thing. So please, let's celebrate that." So it's very important to celebrate every single thing that you do, whether it's 10,000 downloads on your podcast or your first download, whether it's getting your first guest on your show, or whether it's making your first dollar, or doing your first push-up. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
celebrate it, because it's very important. I mean, you can even create a success log and write those things down, so when you have moments of self-doubt or when you're feeling low, you look at that and you can see, like, I can't believe I accomplished all of this stuff, and it'll help you feel a lot better. Even something as just learning to smile can really change your mood. And so sometimes I just smile like a fool. I look in the mirror and like smile like a fool, because I'm not always confident. I mean, I'm not 100% confident all the time. In fact, I'm probably not as confident as most people think. Even if I have a confidence podcast, I still have a lot of moments of doubts, fears, anxieties. But now it's learning. I've been able to learn to work through them and push through them so that I could feel a lot better. And that's how I want to help people as well, help them overcome their own insecurities, fears, anxieties, so they could go out there and be that confident woman that they want to be. So those are some tips I would mention to your listeners.
Okay. I'm going to write that down, success log, because I always tell people to practice gratitude, because that's one way to actually get yourself in like a good mood. And you start looking at, okay, these are what I have. I have this because, and you just start thinking about ways that you can be thankful. And that's what gets me in a good mood when I think about. But I'm
Yeah,
going to
that's
write down success log. I never heard, look, I like
gratitude
that.
journal is still a great thing. I mean, I think when we live in Western countries, we take a lot of things for granted, especially coming from the Philippines. When you see so much poverty, you should be grateful for things like clean water, a roof over your head, 3 meals to eat, a shower a bathroom to bathe in, a clean bathroom to bathe in. Because if you ever been in the Philippines, like, there's lots of kids out there begging for money in the streets. Some of them have no limbs because they're begging for money outside. Some of them can't even eat properly. I mean, they would have to go dumpster diving to and recook that food so they can just have something to eat. And so we have to be really grateful for the basic necessities, because for some people that's considered a luxury.
It is. And I tell people, just look at yourself. Look at your eyes. You have eyes. Look at your hands. Like, you can look at things on yourself to even be thankful for if you say you do not have anything else to be thankful for. The fact that you're still alive is an indication that you should be thankful, because life is valuable and you're here and you get to continue to wake up every single day. And so if you look at that, that's something to be grateful for. So that's one of my things I say I'm grateful for in my gratitude journal, is that I'm thankful for life, because I'm here and I get the opportunity to wake up and share motivation and be with my children and be in my house. And that's a blessing, because some people do not have that. And I know that I am, blessed and I have things. But you have to acknowledge that and know that if you look always looking for something, then you're never going to be happy. If you're always looking to have more and always looking for fulfillment, you have to be fulfilled in what you have already. In every time in your life, you have to always be fulfilled, because what I like to do is I like to let my clients know that, okay, where you at right now, be thankful, because the next season you want to be thankful too, but whatever season you're in, you want to be thankful, because that's how you allow good things to continue to happen into your life. Because I believe in good karma. So I feel like be in good gratitude, be nice to people, and just, always be happy for what you have and not what you don't have. Choose your focus. So yeah, I'm gonna write down success log. I like that.
Yeah, no worries.
So, lastly, what inspires you to get up every day and show up for yourself and operate in your purpose?
I think for me, it's just knowing there's someone out there who I'm helping become a better person. Not okay, maybe not become more confident in themselves, to show up as their authentic selves and just be the powerful woman that they are today. And so, if I'm able to help just one person, that makes all the difference, because sometimes you never know where that one person to could go. What if you accidentally helped a person who could be like the next Oprah? Can you imagine how much impact she would create? And it's because of you're doing, because you are able to help them out there. So you know I know a lot of us, we want to help as many people as we can, but if you can help one person, that's more than enough, because you never know where it can go.
Yeah. And then that person can go help others. And that's
Yeah,
why I tell people it multiplies.
yeah, it's like a
You have one
domino.
person. Yeah.
It's like a domino effect.
Yeah. I really have enjoyed you on my show today, and I just want to say thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. And I'll be sharing in the comments below how they can find you. So thanks for tuning in and supporting the podcast. I hope this has been inspiring. Bye.